What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So, God of War Ragnarok, the conversation going on, and just a few of my thoughts and my impressions so far, having played the game for, I don't know, a number of hours now. I haven't looked on my PlayStation account to see or be interested in how many hours I've played the game so far. I am enjoying certain aspects of the game, but there are aspects of the game that I'm thinking to myself, something is different. Now, here's another really cool thing. One thing about games and gamers is games that we like, we're going to talk about what we like about the games. Some gamers go as far as defending the game, even insulting people who don't share their own thoughts about the game. It's all over the place. There are these set of comments that I saw in my video where I talked about that review that an IGN, reviewer, a guest reviewer in IGN Korea, gave the game 6 out of 10. And I was talking about how it wasn't going to even bother me at all. I was going to go in and play the game. But I think somebody saw just the thumbnail and jumped right into it and said, Elden Ring fanboy that hasn't played Ragnarok saying Elden Ring is better will not be subbing here. And I was laughing. I was like, I played Ragnarok. It's good, but nothing special. And he says, thought the same about Elden Ring. I enjoyed Dark Souls 1 and 3 a lot. You made this video before Ragnarok was out. You're not going to grow a video game channel by being a biased fanboy. Ben Farr, it's all opinion. If you think I'm an Elden Ring fanboy, what are you going to say when you see my hours in the first God of War game? So I think one of the things is people don't necessarily want to get context. And then you have Yasiru here saying, you can't play the game, Xbot, don't lie. And I was laughing going, all right, these people are out of hand. Now, the thing about this game is I'm a huge God of War buff. I know that this is a game that I will have to struggle to find which one between Elden Ring and this game to give, the game of the year. In fact, here's my PC playthrough of the game, and I've noticed that there are a few differences in the game and in the combat. But here's the thing. Even with these differences that I want to point out, or these differences that I'm seeing, I'm trying my best not to go point it out because the most recent experience of my playthrough for, God of War is on PC. Now, granted, the performance on PC versus, say, the PlayStation 5 is actually very different. Already, I noticed that there was something. In the throw animations, when Kratos throws his Leviathan axe in this game, it's actually slightly different from the way he throws his Leviathan axe in, say, the other game. That's the one that's on the one that just came out here on PlayStation 5. And I noticed this throw because it was a little weird too with the sound. Like, they changed a lot of the sound systems to refresh up, to freshen up the game. Nothing wrong with that. But you notice that when he tosses his Leviathan axe, it's actually it's strange. I don't know what it is that, kind of makes it really weird. Like here. You notice that the animation snaps in a weird way. Look at that. Now, I don't know why they did that with the light throw. Maybe it's a reason for compressing the animation, or maybe because now they have new functionality on the Blades of Chaos. Just, there are a number of things that developers would do and sacrifice in order for them to be able to execute specific aspects of their game. And this is something that this channel, you guys know we talk about these things, and I appreciate them very well because many a times you don't know until when they go ahead and tell you. And a combat design team in this studio is not a combat design team that you should take lightly. They're very brilliant minds in the way that they've actually done their game. Another thing that I did see that was a little confusing for me, and, I'm still leveling up in the combat system, and I'm leveling up in my weapons and my skills, was a lot of the melee. You still have to unlock a lot of those moves. Now, this is not a big deal. You can still make your way through the game and unlock these, old school moves that you had back in the day, like, your whirl wind up speed and all of the others. It's not really, something that should hold you back in a sense, but it would have been nice if they had a way to explain why you had to go back to these, because they actually had an explanation on why Kratos doesn't have a lot of his armor sets that was from the other game. Now, maybe I haven't progressed further into the game to find this out, but it was interesting to go back and see, oh, wow, we have to go back and unlock these moves again, when in the first God of War game that, when you ended the game, you already had those moves, so you could pretty much do your whatever and then do your whatever. You do that, and then, those you have to unlock all over again. So with the armor not being the same, they already made an explanation and talked about why this was the case. Whereas in this other game, I'm still waiting for some kind of an explanation to kind of, maybe showcase exactly why this is it. But again, it's not really a big deal. I'm actually enjoying the games Blade of Chaos combat more than I am the Leviathan Axe. But I'll still keep unlocking these things, and I'm hoping that they actually bring both of them to the place where they're equally or almost equally enjoyable. Because I'm not gonna lie, the beginning of this game, because you already have the Blades of Chaos, it's just almost easy to spam the Blades of Chaos, because they actually come with some really cool functionality immediately you start using them. You know, you can basically keep enemies in the air, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. And the Leviathan Axe, to me right now, just seems a little underpowered. And that's just pretty much a preference thing. But like I said, because my time in the game has not necessarily been super advanced, I'm at that position where, you know, for me, the combat is not hitting as much as possible, because I played the old game very recently. And so I'm coming in with like, oh yeah, we're going to just pick up from where we started. Well, in terms of story, we sort of kind of did. But then in terms of the game and in terms of the combat system, I see that there are some discrepancies overall with, you know, their design decisions and your leveling up decisions and so on and so forth. Another thing too with this game is the story has been really somewhat strange in its telling and its pacing. The very first game had the perfect pacing, in my opinion. It's hard though for a sequel to top an original game. That's just what it is. In fact, there are people who still say that the other God of War games from back in the day are better than these two. I disagree, but I can respect their opinions on that matter. But again, I can see where the challenge is when you're coming into pacing with the storytelling and all of that. And to me, I think that's where this game is going to really struggle. Now, there are story elements that are very interesting in this game, much more than the first game. I have to say that this story is actually very well packed. It's just its pacing that's the one thing that's holding it back overall. And then in terms of things like combat and so on and so forth, I mean, it's a good combat system. I like it. But for those people that are telling me that Elden Ring is this or that or whatever it is, Elden Ring had a way more diverse combat system than God of War Ragnarok can ever, you know, put together, because that game focused more on those elements. So we're not even going to sit here and kind of do a comparison, because both games had, and I'm looking at it from a development perspective. If you didn't have to do too much storytelling and too much cinematics and hire everybody from Hollywood and all that stuff, you would have time to focus on other things. And Elden Ring just focused on its world building, its combat system, and its boss fights, which are superior by miles over what God of War Ragnarok and the first God of War can do. In fact, the Souls games influenced the first God of War game. I don't know if you guys know, where they actually had to start doing a setup where you went into arenas, you fought bosses. You're gonna deal with stuff like that too in this game, and just like the first game as well. But Elden Ring and the Souls games, they just do it better. I mean, it is not even a comparison. So for Game of the Year conversations, I guess that's gonna be based on the user's preference. It won't really matter overall to me. If you could give both of them Game of the Year in two different categories, I would do that. If you gave one of them Game of the Year over the other, I won't be worried at all. It doesn't really matter. Game of the Year is a subjective opinion based on a process of people who play games that maybe I do enjoy, maybe I don't enjoy. I mean, like, I think it was Unravel that got Game of the Year one year, and I've never played that game and will never play that game. All right, I'll get out of y'all's hair. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. What's your comparisons? What's your views? And, you know, what your impressions are surrounding God of War Ragnarok, especially if you're jumping in from the last game in terms of continuity, story, and so on and so forth. Try to be respectful and don't put spoilers in the comment section. If you put spoilers and you don't indicate that you're putting spoilers, I'm going to nuke your comment and nuke your ability to comment ever. Talk to me in another one.